What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Empire on Deck. I am Roman Gennaro from the Empire Sports Talk YouTube channel. Let's get into Sunday scores. First, we're going to start with Atlanta versus Kansas City. Atlanta had a chance to go for the sweep in this one, but this was one of those situations where Atlanta was hitting the ball hard a lot. But as baseball does sometimes, it just found the defense. They were hitting it right at guys. 3 separate times they hit the ball to the track, and it was caught. They did have one home run from Drake Baldwin late, but it was Kansas City with the first home run of the season from rookie Carter Jensen and RBI singles from both Bobby Witt and Vinny Pasquantino that powered Kansas City past Atlanta. Plus, Seth Lugo was excellent. 5 1/3, 6 hits, no runs, no walks, and Kansas City salvages the last game of the series against Atlanta. Minnesota opened up scoring in the second inning in the finale against Baltimore with 4 in the second, but then Baltimore responded with 3 runs in the fourth, 2 runs in the sixth, and 3 runs in the seventh. Tyler O'Neill had a homer, and Pete Alonso went 2 for 3, notching his first RBI with Baltimore. Baltimore wins 8-6 in the finale to win the series. Alex Bregman homered twice for the Cubs, but it wasn't enough because Joey Wiemer of the Nationals went 3 for 3 with a walk, falling a double shy of the cycle. And he's the first Nationals/Expos player, first player in franchise history to reach base safely in his first 8 plate appearances. And he's tied for the record among all teams for longest streak of consecutive plate appearances reached in the first year with a new team. So congratulations to Joey Wiemer on his huge day. Washington wins the finale 6-3. Tampa Bay takes the finale from St. Louis 11-7 in a game that went back and forth, but it was Tampa Bay that ended on top. Jonathan Aranda and Cedric Mullins each drove in 2 RBIs apiece, but this game belonged to former All-Star Yandy Diaz, who went 5 for 6 with a double and 4 RBIs. So this finale belonged to Tampa Bay. The Chicago White Sox jumped out on top early in the finale against the Milwaukee Brewers, hoping to salvage a victory. When Colson Montgomery hit a grand slam in the first, everything looked like it was going Chicago's way. In fact, rookie Murakami hit a home run in his 3rd straight game, becoming just the 4th player in Major League Baseball history to hit a home run in his first 3 Major League games. The funny thing about that is rookie Chase DeLauter of the Cleveland Guardians had become the 3rd player ever the night before. The other 2 players to do it, Trevor Story for Colorado and Kyle Lewis of the Seattle Mariners. So Murakami made some history along with Chase DeLauter the night before, but it wasn't enough because Milwaukee scored 6 in the 8th inning, including a 3-run homer from Christian Yelich. And we need to take a moment and talk about the great start that former MVP Christian Yelich is off to. He's 6 for 10 with 5 RBIs. So, much like Mike Trout, are we seeing a resurgence to prime Christian Yelich? It'll be fun to find out. Milwaukee storms back, wins the finale, finishes the sweep 9-7. Houston scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th against the Angels to even the series. I know I said in yesterday's video that I thought the Angels had a chance to sweep the series and lost what I believe to be the finale. It was a 4-game series. There was only 2 of those in this opening series, the other one being Seattle and Cleveland. We'll finish with that one as it was a Sunday night game. But Houston scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th and rode that to even the series at 2 apiece. The interesting thing about this series is that after the first 2 games kind of being low scoring, these 2 teams have combined for 36 runs in the final 2 games of this series. So after what I said about Houston's offense in the first game, they may be just fine because all these runs have been scored and Houston has come out on top in both of those games. Colorado jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the top of the first, but they did not score again in the rest of the game. And it was the Marlins who walked this one off, thanks to an Owen Casey 2-run homer in the bottom of the 9th. And may I say, the Marlins have decided to bring back the teal jerseys from their early days as a ball club for home games on Sunday, and I am all for it. And I'm sure I'm not alone in thinking that the Marlins should bring back this look full time. They made a much needed correction. I think it was in 2019 after years of those god awful finger painted black and orange uniforms to kind of a more modern version of the old Marlins, and they added some teal back into it. But those teal jerseys are among the best jerseys to ever exist in Major League Baseball. Can we please bring back the teal Marlins full time? Brandon Lau hit his third home run of the opening series against the Mets. Remember, he hit 2 home runs in the opening game all the way back on Thursday before Paul Skeens took the mound and imploded thanks to the horrid fielding of O'Neal Cruz. But Pittsburgh and New York went to extra innings again in another low-scoring affair, and again scored more runs than they did in regulation in the extra frames. Francisco Lindor was thrown out at the plate as the tying run, but not only that, he was tagged in the face. So he was down for a few seconds after the tag, and who could blame him because it looked extremely uncomfortable. He was tagged up by his neck and got hit in the face, and that kept the tying run from scoring, and the score would hold right there. Pittsburgh got their first win of the season, 4-3. Up next, we have Boston and Cincinnati. It's been a very entertaining opening series. Again, the Saturday game was overshadowed by C.B. Buckner's horrendous performance. But all the scoring in this game came from 2 swings. One by Wilyer Abreu, who hit a 2-run homer for Boston in the 4th inning, and one by Eugenio Suarez, who was at the center of all the C.B. Buckner garbage the day before, a 3-run homer in the 6th. And because I said all the offense came from those 2 swings, it was the Cincinnati Reds that took the rubber match and won the series 3-2. It was the Blue Jays that were going for the sweep in one of the most entertaining series of the weekend, and Springer did what he does best and hit a leadoff homer to keep those hopes high early. Kazuma Okamoto hit his first career homer in the 4th inning, and the Blue Jays finished off the sweep 5-2. They're 3-0 for the first time in 30 years, just the 3rd time in franchise history. And on top of that, the Blue Jays pitchers set a major league record for most strikeouts in an opening series of a season. They struck out 50 Athletics batters. That is a Major League Baseball record. So a historic start for the defending American League champions. And if they were your early pick to get back to the series, things are looking good. In what I would call the surprise of the weekend, the Texas Rangers won the series against the Philadelphia Phillies, thanks in large part to the first Rangers home runs from Brandon Nimmo and Andrew McCutchen. Brandon Nimmo hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning, and Andrew McCutchen hit a 3-run homer in the 4th. The Texas Rangers won the finale 8-3. In the last game of the weekend, it was one of the more entertaining series. The other 4-game series of the weekend, Seattle and Cleveland on Sunday Night Baseball in the return to NBC. And what I was not expecting was this game was all Seattle. But before we get there, something that I thought was really cool was that Seattle was wearing special uniforms in honor of Negro League team, the Seattle Steelheads. I really liked the simplicity of these black and white uniforms. I didn't love how simple the hats were, but that's what a lot of the Negro League uniforms looked like. And Seattle will be wearing these uniforms for all home game Sundays for the 2026 season. I really like the simplicity of these uniforms. I'm kind of more of a simple guy when it comes to stuff like that. So these were really cool jerseys to honor the Seattle Steelheads. And a really fun stat that came up at the beginning of this game, that obviously we've been talking about Chase DeLauter a lot this series as he was making his regular season debut, hitting 4 home runs in his first 3 games. But what was easy to gloss over in that is that Seattle's Luke Raley also hit 3 homers in his first 3 games. Like I said, in a weird stat, Luke Raley and Chase DeLauter became the first set of opponents ever to each homer in their team's first 3 games. So just another fun bit of history from this first weekend of Major League Baseball. And I can't remember a weekend of baseball at any point in the season where we've seen this much history take place. So what a great weekend. But then the game started, and like I said, it was all Seattle. Cleveland only had 2 hits in the game, and that first hit didn't even come until the first batter of the 7th inning. That's right, the Seattle pitchers held Cleveland hitless through 6 innings. They ended that with the first batter of the 7th and only got 1 more the rest of the game. Seattle won the finale of what was previously a great series, which they even mentioned on the telecast. It felt like a playoff series, and I wholeheartedly agree. There were a few series this weekend that felt like playoff series. Cincinnati and Boston felt like a playoff series. Even though Toronto won all 3 games, Toronto and the Athletics felt like a playoff series. Heck, Pirates-Mets felt like a playoff series. So it was a great first weekend of baseball, and I cannot wait to look forward to more great weekends of baseball for the next 7 months. That's right. We don't have to worry about there being no baseball to talk about for the next 7 months. Until tomorrow when we recap Monday's action, I'm Roman Gennaro. This is Empire on Deck, a show within a show on the Empire Sports Talk YouTube channel, and I'll see you around.